And we are following the latest developments on the grand jury investigation into alleged hush money payments made by former President Donald Trump. He posted on Truth Social over the weekend he expects to be arrested tomorrow and called for protests. But Trump's lawyer says there's been no communication from prosecutors about a possible arrest. Today, attorney Robert Costello testified in court attacking Michael Cohen's credibility. Costello was once a legal advisor to Michael Cohen, who is Trump's former lawyer, who pleaded guilty in 2018 to making those alleged hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. So joining us now is Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief with our partners at The Hill. Bob, thank you so much for your time. We just heard from Robert Costello speaking to reporters outside of the courthouse. Let's listen to that.
The witness is Michael Cohen, who's going to come in and say, I guess, what can he say? That I'm lying? I have the documents. Now, the problem here is that the district attorney has so far not provided all of those documents to the grand jurors. I have nothing to hide. All of those documents were provided to the U.S. Attorney's Office. They did the smart thing. They looked at Michael Cohen. They said he's a convicted perjurer, and there must be 100 instances in those documents of him lying to us. So they said, we just can't trust this guy. You can't rely upon him.
Bob, do you have a receptive?
All right, so Bob, what is your reaction to that? He said a lot of things while he was outside of the courthouse just a few minutes ago, talking about the fact that they were zeroing in on just a few questions when there were so many statements to walk through. What's your reaction?
Well, certainly their strategy, the Trump strategy, is to go after Michael Cohen pretty hard, and noting that he was the one convicted. But Cohen has countered that he was acting on behalf of the former president. So this is pretty significant, and I don't know if Trump is going to be arrested or indicted tomorrow, but it does seem like it's a matter of time. I do think and remember, there are other cases. There's the January 6th case. There's the election case in Georgia. I think prosecutors, if they're going to go after Trump, whether it's in New York or Georgia or elsewhere, they're going to have to do it before we get into the summer, when we're going to have the first primary debate. I just think that's too close. So this is the time to do it. It's either spring or never.
All right. Well, Bob, let's talk about the specifics here of what this could even look like. Again, if it happens tomorrow, and this is such a big if, do you expect that we will, in fact, see the former president taken into custody and eventually inside a courtroom?
Well, those are good questions, and it's unclear. Law suggests that he has to be fingerprinted. I think some of these other issues are going to be negotiated. Does he have to go to New York? Possibly, but not definitely. Maybe he could go to somewhere in Florida and be fingerprinted. Will there be a mugshot? That certainly is within the purview of state officials, but at the same time, that could also be negotiated. Remember, this is unprecedented. This is a former president. So it could be a circus where he has to go into New York and go into the courthouse. Obviously, he's going to be released, but I'm sure that the Trump side does not want a mugshot of the former president. That could be used against him, certainly, by his Republican rivals and his Democratic critics.
Well, speaking of Republicans, there's been a lot of support for the former president. Is the DA here, is Alvin Bragg only serving to unite this, somewhat divided GOP? I mean, will this be the glue that brings some of the fractured elements of the Republican Party back together?
Well, the Never Trumpers, the Liz Cheneys and others certainly are going to say that Trump deserves to be indicted on a number of fronts. But how does Governor DeSantis, who is likely to run, he's got to toe a delicate line. I think Democrats also have to be careful here. They should not be spiking the football if there is an indictment. An indictment is not a conviction. And that's what these prosecutors have to think. It's the end game. If you don't win in the end, certainly that's going to be welcomed by Trump, but also could help him politically if he is exonerated from whatever he's indicted on.
Yeah, it certainly could. All right, Bob Cusack, as always, we appreciate you. Thanks. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.